My next guest is an actress whose screen partners have included Tom Selleck, Ben Kingsley, and a werewolf. She's made her home in Los Angeles, but remains English from her bonnet to her bed socks. She is Jenny Agutter. I mentioned werewolves, and of all your films, The American Werewolf in London seems to have caught the imagination of the public more than most, hasn't it?
Yes, I found as a result of that I now get a lot of howls when I'm on the street.
You mean you didn't before?
No.
Very strange. You've been in the business for over 20 years. Gasp, gasp.
You think you're going to like it? Oh, that'd be nice, yeah.
How did you get started?
I was at a ballet school studying to dance, and Walt Disney was making a film about the Royal Danish Ballet called Ballerina. And I was sent up to audition from the school, along with Victoria Tennant and some other girls. And I thought, I didn't know what it was. I wrote to my parents and said I was going up for the part of a Great Dane. Whilst I was going up for that part, Victoria Tennant had an agent who handled Anthony Quayle, and he was making a film called East of Sudan. And she saw me, and she knew they needed a little girl in it. I was very small for my age. I looked about 8 instead of 11.
I know the feeling.
And she sent me along to meet the producer of that film. And I went in, and I was picked up by the director and the producer and put down again, and they said, yes, she'll be fine, because it turned out that this little girl has an accident at the beginning and is carried throughout the film. So I was cast for my weight, basically.
That's funny, there's two of you.
Yeah. We must talk about this later.
Roy, you were a child performer, weren't you?
Yes, I was cast for my weight as well.
Jenny, did the earlier success, and it was very early, did it go to your head?
Oh, totally, absolutely. I thought it was the most wonderful thing. I mean, one's treated like a star, and they tell you you're a star, and at aged 11, it was magical to be making films. And I was very proud of myself, and filming every day. And when you're playing a lead role, they're very careful that your makeup looks all right, and they come and they powder you and brush your hair before every shot. And I would be sitting there having all my makeup done. And then I heard a little girl say to another one, why do they keep doing her makeup? And I thought, well, because I'm the star. And the other little girl just said, because she's so untidy. So that sort of put it a little bit in perspective.
Yes. Well,
and also at school, they weren't very keen on me being at all proud of what I was doing.
Oh, they never let you get away with anything, do they? Filmmaking, of course, is not all that sweet and lovely, is it? It isn't all just fun.
No, no, it's not.
Oh, yes. Champagne till 3 every morning.
Oh. Which films are those? I remember one time, when I did Logan's Run, I spent 2 weeks where it seemed like a test of endurance, of whether I really wanted to be an actress or not. We spent 2 weeks in a sewage plant. It was meant to be underneath this futuristic city. So it smelled terrible, as you can imagine.
It was a sewage plant?
It was a sewage plant. And every day I went into work for 2 weeks, and I wore this little sort of leotard and little flat shoes and behind the left shoulder.
Yes, that's right.
And I was soaked down, because I was meant to have got wet in this scene. So every day I was soaked down with water. And the only lines I said was, no and help and Logan, and that was about it for 2 weeks. And it was really appalling. I mean, it's not much fun at all. Not at all glamorous.
There were dangerous bits as well, weren't there? Did you do your own dangerous bits?
Yes, I did. I mean, they always seem to say that you have to stunt people. But often as not, they'll let you do a lot of the things yourself.
I always have to do my own stunts, actually, because no stuntman it looks like this at all.
You've done your own naughty bits as well, though,
yes, yes, which are never as romantic as they seem. They always choose spots which sound wonderful, you know, it's like beaches or haystacks or something, which in real life are extremely uncomfortable, not very nice to be in at all. Or if they do manage to put you in a bedroom, remember that you've got a whole camera team there, and they usually want to do some extraordinary shot where they want to be quite close, but they put you right on the edge of the bed, probably with a board, so you're about to fall off. And the other actor you're playing with has got drunk so that they'll relax and feel comfortable with the scene. So you're avoiding the fumes of the alcohol. It's not very romantic.
Well, I wouldn't mind trying it, I must... Have you done any...
I've done nude, full frontal, actually. My full frontal was on the 6 o'clock news. It was actually absolutely true. Sure it was for the Ministry of Information. And you know how people sort of try to help Britain by sort of doing these films, Keep Britain Tidy and the Green Cross Code and all these Ministry of Information films, and diphtheria and all those sort of things. And mine was advertising outside toilets.
Built like one,
well, yes. And I was in a bath, in a tin bath in front of the fire.
You turned back to the theatre and the classics as well. Is this something you very much wanted to do?
Yes, absolutely. After a period of time in film, you really want to make changes and people put you in one category. And theatre allows you to do much more. And I was particularly pleased when I was asked to join the Royal Shakespeare Company because it seems like something that is wonderful.
Pleased but nervous, I imagine.
Pleased but extremely nervous, yes. I mean, the first, I thought that everybody was very informed, and I went along with piles of books under my arm on the first day of rehearsal, and of course they just laughed at me.
Yes,
But it was very funny.
So you did well then?
I did really well. Yes.
Jenny, you're mostly in America these days, aren't you? What's the first thing you notice when you come back home?
People are obviously very different. The ways of doing things are very different. I mean, one of the illustrations of that is probably in driving. The people's attitude towards driving is quite different. American cars, they drive in these big cars, which sort of, their driving is very lackadaisical. They just sort of drift about the roads. When you go on a freeway, sort of 4 lanes, 55 miles an hour, and there's no fast and slow lanes. It's like a conveyor belt. People
That's
just
the limit,
go
of
on.
course.
That's the limit. And they go on and they stay at 55 miles an hour. You can have 4 cars in front of you, and being an English driver, you get very irritated by these 4 cars that all sit across the 4 lanes. You can't get past. So it's very different. I mean, people here are much more sort of aggressive in a way.
Yes, it's surprising, isn't it, really? Did you learn to drive in America?
No, I learnt to drive actually in England, but I did take an American driving test, which you need to do for identification anyway. And that's quite different than the English driving test, which I failed 3 times. In America, when I took my test, I was given a piece of paper which had 20 questions on it. And each question has 3 possible answers. And there were questions like, if a man is carrying a white stick, is he deaf, blind, or carrying a white stick?
To knock him over and find out.
Sounds a bit devised by Bob Newhart. You're a single, independent woman. Do you have a live-in help? How do you manage?
No, I don't. None of that, really. I mean, if one's out of work, then you feel that your time, you might as well use your time to do whatever yourself. I mean, even do it yourself. I enjoy painting and doing things like that, electrical, anything. I love hardware stores. I love finding paints and things that I can do up my house myself.
Are you handy with these things?
Yes, I am quite. I'm very good. I'm probably better than most of the odd job people want to get in.
Because it's a dangerous thing to fool around with, isn't it?
The electrics is probably dangerous. I mean, there was one accident I had once with electrics. It wasn't sort of major, but I was playing with some appliances and I put appliances, very American, a hi-fi set on and various lights on, and there was a lot of power obviously going through. And then suddenly the lights went off in the house, and then I looked out of the window and realised that in fact the lights were out in the entire block. And I've never been sure whether it was me. I then rang up the electricity board and said, the lights seem to have gone out. Could you tell me what this is? They said, we don't know what it is. People have already called up and complained. So they couldn't quite figure it out. And I was always sure that I'd blown a major fuse somewhere.
The girl who blew up Los Angeles. What a thing to have to remember. Anyway, if you'd like to sit there and not touch anything, please, for just a moment. I thank you very much indeed, Jenny Agutter.